everyone, I'm Naomi Brockwell for NBTV, and this is Breaking Bitcoin.
Welcome back to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live here in the underground bunker. This is March 24th, 2020. Today is Tuesday, week 2 of quarantine isolation in the crypto bunker. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic tonight. This is, of course, your evening source for everything markets and finance. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe and turn on all notifications for the show. We are broadcasting every single evening at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. If you guys are watching over there on Twitch or DLive, make sure to drop us a follow. We'll be tossing some lemons in the chat here in a little bit. We've got a lot to talk about today. Obviously, traditional markets on Wall Street and abroad put in a very large rebound today, posting significant moves to the upside as what it seems investor sentiment is turning slightly hopeful that there will be some positive effects from this economic stimulus package. The S&P closed up over 9%. The NASDAQ rallied about 14%, close to today's close, and the Dow put in a rally of its own, marking the strongest day in the Dow, in the industrial average, since 1933. Bitcoin and gold, honey badgering their way on up there. It appears we have two honey badgers now. Bitcoin and the coronavirus, as they are calling it. And this, of course, has to be put into context. We are coming off a horrific several weeks for investors in traditional markets and international markets. And while today certainly was a solid relief rally, it's certainly too early to call a bottom just yet. Over in Europe, we saw German stocks jump 11%. In England, a 9% rally. Performances not seen since 2008. A similar story in Asian markets. South Korean indices seeing an 8.6% move. The Japanese index 7%. The biggest one-day gain in over 4 years. And closer to home, the United States, despite being only at the early stages of our developing crisis, early stages of our developing crisis. Again, investor sentiment seems to be somewhat okay today. But again, we have to understand how to ignore the noise and how to spot a trend for what it really is. Again, despite this optimism, we're going to be taking a look at the VIX later. We're going to be looking at a whole lot of stuff today. So if you have any questions, drop them in the live chat. The moderators will direct my attention to them. We're going to do something a little bit differently today. We are going to cover the news first. There's a lot I want to cover, and then we'll get into the charts and get into the markets and answer your questions live. All right, so let's get going, guys. Of course, don't forget, you can follow us over on the socials where we post content you won't see anywhere else. Particularly, Twitter is the place to follow us if you want to stay up to date on everything that's going on in the crypto markets, and Instagram is the place where we post stuff you won't see anywhere else. All right, let's get right into it. Hopefully, you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. I'm just going to get the chat pulled up here real quick, and we can get going. Let's slide on over into the DMs. Slide into the DMs. No, let's slide into the live scene. As soon as I get this chat pulled open. All right, and there it is. There is the live chat. Okay. All right. Good to see you, Mr. Ether, Ghost 7, Tim Matthews, Money Machine Gun, Midwest Attempts, Nigao Mihai, and Crypto Da Vinci. Fiat is king. Well, it currently is right now. I will not deny that. We are here to predict future trends. All right, let's get into the live scene, guys. All right. So close. So close, guys. I mean, I was literally almost there. And here we are. Literally almost there. All right. So here we are in the United States. Of course, I do have to cover this. Do have to talk about this. 53,740 confirmed cases across the world here in the United States. Or excuse me, just the United States. 53,740 here in the United States. Total deaths, 780. Particularly seeing deaths increasing this week. That is something that we will continue to see over the course of this week. One narrative that I want to be really clear about, because today, like everybody, watching Twitter, watching the news, constantly hitting refresh, seeing what is going on, because how can you not at this point in time? And here's the thing. It seems that one big trend that I'm noticing here is that people have a very short attention span when it comes to the markets. And I think that is a good indication of the rally that we had today, right? As price moves to the upside, as we see people, particularly in the news, and this is why you have to avoid mainstream media. Not avoid it. You definitely have to know what's going on, but you certainly want to have your own opinion and read between the lines and really look at, because mainstream media are never on top of what is going to happen. They are always there to tell you what just happened, okay? They're always there to tell you what has already occurred in the past. They will not give you any guidance for what's going to happen coming into the future. They definitely leave your own on that, and that's where you have to take it upon yourself to watch shows like this, to watch shows like I watch, right? I'm always educating myself, always looking out there to try and find information. But people have a very short attention span, unfortunately. And it seems like people are already largely bored with this, right? They're already largely bored with this. And this is a result of their short attention span. I think this is also very similar in traditional markets. And I just don't think that I'm seeing kind of the tucker in and grit mentality that people are going to have to get through this successfully. All right, so let's start over here. From Los Angeles County. First death of a coronavirus patient under the age of 18, the first fatality of a person younger than 18, according to the mayor of Lancaster. They aren't testing hardly anybody, so we aren't going to wait for the county. We are going to provide our own tests. Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti says, I know that everybody is hopeful, and some are putting out that hope of us being back in churches by Easter or synagogues by Passover or restarting the economy in a couple of weeks. And I think we owe it to everybody to be straightforward and honest. We will not be back to that level of normality in that short of a period of time. So that's concerning. Definitely not something that I wanted to see. Very concerned about that, particularly as a father, right? But again, I do like the honesty here. Of not attempting to beguile people that life's going to go back to normal anytime soon, because it's not. Getting to economic news, Morgan Stanley put out a new report. The U.S. GDP will shrink 30%, according to their analysts, of course, Morgan Stanley, next quarter. But again, this is just coinciding with something. The numbers are slightly different, but exactly what I had intended to expect, exactly what I've been talking about for a while. 30% by next quarter. U.S. GDP will plunge 30.1% in the second quarter. A sharp drop off in economic activity in March will cause first quarter GDP to contract at a 2.4% annualized pace and will be followed by a 30.1% plunge in the second quarter, mostly as the damage on small businesses begins to rack up. As the unemployment rate begins to skyrocket, and just in general, as the economic depression begins to hit people, begins to hit home. As we move into April, it will be both a surge in layoffs as well as a shutdown in hiring that will bring about the darkest days for the labor market since the financial crisis. And remember, in the financial crisis, stocks didn't bottom until March 2009. The firm expects job losses to largely follow the GDP pattern, with the harshest declines up front. So it's not going to happen slowly. It's going to happen quickly, right? Because again, most small businesses are running on very, very thin margins. I say this as an entrepreneur. I say this as somebody who started small businesses. I say this as somebody who has advised business owners. I say this as somebody who talks, and mostly my circle is people who are entrepreneurs or run their own small business. And there is not this large supply of cash that small business owners are sitting on. We have a very, very, very perilous stack of cards when it comes to credit and debt, particularly in the housing market, again, particularly in the credit market, again, and it's not going to take much. The unemployment rate is going to tip the cards in the other scale. The evolution of the unemployment rate ultimately will be determined by how well fiscal stimulus is able to support small businesses, how quickly economic activity normalizes, and how attached to the labor market unemployed workers remain. Now that statement right there, I really want you to focus on that, because that statement doesn't mean anything. Just like if you turn on the news, you're going to hear kind of these two big arguments, right? The one big argument is that this is just like the flu. Everything's going to be back to normal very quickly. And on the other hand, you have this is the worst, absolute catastrophic pandemic the world has ever seen. We need to lock everything down. We need to, go out in bubble suits and everything that we can do to protect every single human life, right? And here's the reality. They don't know. Nobody knows. If anybody tells you that they know, it's because they're lying to you, right? Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. We do not have the data. We do not have the information necessary to know exactly how this is going to play out, right? We don't. So we are in this huge fact-finding mission right now. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. And so the same thing with the economy. Oh, we're going to rebound. The stimulus is going to work. This all depends on how well the economic stimulus package is received. You guys don't know. You guys don't know. You guys have inflated the economy so much, inflated the monetary supply so much, built such a convoluted stack of cards on top of the credit system that you don't know. It's very much like a very, very complicated algorithm, right? For example, high frequency trading algorithms. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but high frequency trading algorithms account for about 50 to 60% of all trading volume. Some say up to 80% of all trading volume in all markets, right? That's a lot. It's a whole lot. And a lot of these HTF algos have become so complex that most people do not know how they work, right? You know, again, I just know my own experience from development. The more complicated and the more inflated a project gets, I mean, when you get into the hundreds of thousands of lines of code, is very difficult, very, very difficult to pinpoint inefficiencies, right? And again, unemployment rates. This is from last Thursday's Department of Labor. This is from the Department of Labor. It's the official report. Initial claims was 281,000 adjusted claims. So an increase, significant increase, 70,000 increase. This is going to skyrocket. Like, this is just a taste of what's to come. Again, this is just a 30% increase. Again, this report is released weekly on Thursday, so definitely something to watch. You guys can find the links for that in the Forex calendars that you guys see me check all the time over there at Forex Factory, or again, just follow the DOL. This is the highest level for initial claims since September 2nd, 2017. And again, predicted rate of increase right here. All right. From the New York Post, jobless claims spiked to 281,000 as coronavirus forces layoffs. The number of people applying for unemployment benefits spiked by about a third last week. Something you're not hearing a lot about. An increase of 70,000 or 33% just from the prior week, right? I do want to give my thoughts and opinions on kind of the controversy. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys have heard it in the news. Unfortunately, there was an elderly couple, a gentleman that passed away, and a lady who was admitted to the ICU after consuming what they thought was hydroxychloroquine. It was not hydroxychloroquine. It was fishbowl cleaner. So again, that is a tragedy. Nobody wants to see that. But again, I do have a bit of a platform here. There is remdesivir. There are currently 3 clinical trials currently attempting to establish the efficacy of these drugs to prevent or help treat coronavirus. The only thing that I know for certain that one can readily get to is going to be zinc, right? Zinc lozenges. These are very hard to get your hands on. Coldies is the most popular brand. Again, this is what we have is not clinical trials, but anecdotal reports. Exactly the same with chloroquine and hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine used to treat rheumatoid arthritis and lupus. Chloroquine is used to treat malaria. So again, it's kind of this booster shot of multiple, drugs used to treat, including zinc, right? So again, what we do know anecdotally, or what we seem to know anecdotally, remember, not an expert. What we seem to know anecdotally is cold ease lozenges do help, zinc lozenges. They do recommend that you lay down and let them dissolve in the back of your throat if you feel you have been exposed to coronavirus. All right. Let's get to the economy. The Dow recorded its biggest point gain on record and the biggest percentage gain since 1933, closing up 11.4%, over 2,000 points. S&P 500 and NASDAQ composite as well, putting in big movements to the upside today. Getting down here, I want to talk about the VIX. This is according to market. This is actually CNN, but this comes from MarketWatch. The volatility index, the kind of the pulse of the market, spiked last week. One of the biggest spikes in the VIX since the 2008 financial crisis, right? Obviously caused by the coronavirus crisis, right? By the coronavirus fear. On fears that we're going to a recession or even a depression. Spoiler alert, we are. It was the largest 6-day jump on record. Now the opposite is happening. Closed at 82.69 last week. The VIX has now tumbled below 60, right? The only time since 1990 that the VIX has experienced a larger collapse was in November 2008 during the worst of the financial crisis. And we did see at that point in time a brief recovery for the markets. But remember that stocks, the S&P tumbled another 15%. And what was going on back then? In our recent history, most people in this room right now, most people watching the show right now, the financial crisis, you guys might not remember that very well, right? Again, I was, it was 12 years ago, right? I was in my early 20s, right? Late teens. So but that was the kind of first of its kind. Obviously, we saw the tech sector boom, but I think that was obviously the most popularized thing. And we didn't have what's going on now then, right? It affected the entire markets, but we have external factors now. Stocks didn't bottom until March 2009. So a little early, certainly, to call the bottom. You know, I was on the phone with Chase earlier, right? For a friend. And, you know, it's funny. I put the phone down. I worked. And after about 45 minutes, somebody finally answered. And they were like, I mean, let me tell you this, right? The Chase employees, the people, because they bounced me around about 3 different people. They all sounded panicked. They all sounded worried, right? And at one point, the guy said, there are 4,000 people on the wait line behind you. 4,000 people on the Chase wait line as people are freaking out about their money. So again, let me be very, very clear. There is no retail buying the stock market right now. No retail is buying the stock market. You don't need retail to buy the stock market. You certainly need retail to keep the stock market going up, right? You have to lull everybody into a false sense of security, like they have over the last 10 years, that the market just goes up. You lull people into this long only mentality, and you teach them that every dip should be bought. Every dip should be bought. You teach them that you should not short the market, that it always goes up. You know, long-term thinking, right? Long-term thinking is fine, but not when you are directionally blind that the market is only going to go in one direction for an extended period of time, right? The market has just as high a probability to go down for a very long extended period of time. So thinking of intelligent ways to protect yourself and be exposed to multiple markets so that you are not there. Andrew, Governor Cuomo calling on federal government to order companies to manufacture medical supplies. And what this headline should read is Andrew Cuomo calls on federal government to nationalize American industries. My highlighters are not working the way I want them to here. But I don't know if you guys, I don't know if this one slipped your notice. New York Governor Andrew Cuomo called on federal government to order companies to manufacture medical supplies under the Defense Production Act. In his press conference, saying that the government should nationalize medical supply acquisition instead of leaving it to the states. What he means by that is leaving it to the free market. He says the states simply cannot manage it. States all across the country can't handle it. Certainly the states that are dealing with the highest caseload can't handle it. But he seems to believe that the federal government can. Okay? So let me be very clear about that. The state government is far more effective at dealing with these things than the federal government. Far more effective than dealing with all kinds of situations. The free market, actual industries, actual businesses run by people that actually have a financial investment stake in their own success, that have an actuarial interest in their own well-doing, rather than the federal government. And quote, and that's why I believe the federal government should take over that function of contracting and acquiring all of the medical supplies that we need. If you guys want to see the worst possible production or management of this, let the federal government do it. And if you guys need any proof of that, quote, it is unclear why quality control did not detect this issue. Early CDC tests couldn't distinguish between the coronavirus and water. This is the Center for Disease Control. This is the federal government agency in charge of keeping us safe from the pandemic, right? Military keeps us safe from foreign invaders. The CDC is supposed to keep us safe from bugs, right? Or at least keep us educated about bugs. The CDC botched its early development of coronavirus test kits, which could not differentiate between the novel coronavirus and lab-grade water, right? CDC botched its development of testing kits, and the CDC had already sent those test kits to state public health labs and then had to go through the expense of retrieving them, right? As of Monday, this is as of yesterday, CDC did not have an explanation for the batch of faulty tests. And of course, the president telling us that FEMA is on it, distributing masks, distributing ventilators, distributing supplies. If you guys saw the interview with the FEMA director, he could not even give a rough estimate as to how many masks they had. He does not know what's going on. I don't think they're sending their best, guys. I don't think they're sending their best. All right. Going to more positive news. We'll see. China to lift lockdown on Wuhan, ground zero of the coronavirus pandemic. China has announced it will lift the lockdown on Wuhan, the city at the epicenter of the coronavirus pandemic. The date comes more than 2 months after the city was first sealed off from the outside world. This is obviously what we're dealing with here in the States and in many developed countries right now. How exactly do we respond since we've had pretty much all of the Western nations governments completely drop the ball, even as we see hopefully promising signs that the number of active cases or active deaths in Italy is starting to come down. The reality is that so far, the ball was punted at us, right? The coronavirus ball was punted at us at the Western worlds, at first world countries, and we biffed it. Like, we completely biffed it, right? We didn't catch the ball. We didn't even duck and let the ball go over. So we just let the ball hit us right in the face. We just talked about the CDC, for example, right? Now, and we're trying to determine, okay, well, what do we do now? Do we just stay, Alcatraz style, lock everybody down, promote social, lock everybody down, go into extreme quarantine, and then try to figure it out from there? Or do we, try to figure out some kind of smarter system where we let healthy people go back to work? We can somehow identify healthy people and, quarantine more significantly affected areas, and kind of do the South Korea model, right? Where there is, a strong emphasis on social distancing. Again, the problem here in the United States is that people already aren't really respecting that. And not just in the United States, in all kind of Western worlds. Switzerland, Germany has recently banned groups of more than 2 people. But prior to that, right, you can go over there and see, like, people are still hanging out, having barbecues, walking in the park. The UK is no different. So I don't think that social distancing is going to work as well in the Western worlds as it's going to work in the East Asian worlds. Maybe we're just more, I don't know, independent. Trying to be generous here. The date comes more than 2 months after the city was first sealed off from the outside world. So let's be very clear about that. If America tries to, any country, if America or any first world country tries to lock down and shelter in place for 2 months, the economic fallout from that is going to be tremendous. Tremendous, right? Tremendous. All right. So, but let's talk about the differences here between the South Korean model and the Chinese Hubei province model here. Because it says here that starting on Wednesday, people in Hubei, except for Wuhan, will be allowed to leave the province if they have a green QR code on their mobile phones. All right. Hubei has previously ordered all of its residents to obtain the color-based QR code, which comes in red, yellow, and green, and acts as an indicator of people's health statuses. The colors are assigned according to the provincial epidemic control database. People who have been diagnosed as confirmed suspected or asymptomatic cases or people with a fever will receive the red color code. Their close contacts, the yellow, and people without any record get the green code, meaning they're healthy and safe to travel. So individuals with a green QR code will be able to leave the city and the province. So, huge difference in the response here. Huge difference in the response. Do you see Americans getting? Do you see Americans? Following along or getting in the lockstep with this kind of QR code thing? I've talked about this before. There's a significant difference, right? China is a communist, totalitarian nation, right? Not a nice place. One of the more significant threats on the world stage right now, right? Even though we're told that the greatest threat that we're facing in the world is a slight change in temperature 200 years from now. It's not totalitarian government or communism or socialism. So do you see Americans, do you really see Americans taking this approach, right? Kind of lockstepping along? I don't. All right. So more specifically, for more than a month, Wuhan residents have been told to stay at home as the government escalated the lockdown measures. They have not been allowed to go outside to shop for groceries and instead have had to rely on designated neighborhood committees to make group orders for daily necessities, often at a higher price. So I talked about this. A while ago, right? I said, go get some cash. Sure. Certainly. Listen, we don't know, right? I don't know. Okay. What the federal government's going to do, how stupid they're going to be. Probably pretty stupid. But the reality is that you want to be prepared for any eventuality. So if you will recall on this show several weeks ago, I said, go get some cash, right? I said I had gone and got some cash. Somebody left some dumb comment down in the section. I did. I went and got some cash. The reason why is because, sure, digital payments, credit cards, Bitcoin, right? We got all that. People watching the show are ahead of the curve. We're well prepared. But if these lockdown restrictions, if we do, particularly if you're in an area that is considered high risk, like New York or Washington, and they do take more punitive quarantine measures there, or restriction measures there and restrict movement, you're going to see black markets, right? Because just in a couple weeks of this, depending on how long this drags on, you're going to see things, again, maybe not permanently, but slowly dry up, right? The supply chain, even internationally, has been significantly impacted with China being offline for about 2 months, and they are starting to come back online and manufacture again. Again, orders are ready to ship over, but that interruption in the supply chain has resounding effects that take a while to reestablish, right? All of these systems, right, are very easy to break. They're very easy to sideline. So again, you're going to see disruptions of things, and you want to be prepared for black markets, right? Maybe not at first, right? Hey, instead of being able to go to the grocery store for your eggs, you got to go to the farmer, right? Well, you can't pay the farmer on a credit card. You got to pay him in cash, right? So you want to be prepared for these kind of things, right? You don't got to go pull all your money out of the bank. You just want to have enough money on hand for a month or two. Difference between being reactive and proactive. All right, so Larry Kudlow was on the White House lawn just a while ago. And again, just confirming that this is not a $2 trillion stimulus package. This is a $6 trillion stimulus package. Again, that is 1/3 of the American economy. Okay, 1/3 of the American economy. From countryeconomy.com, what was America's GDP in 2019? $21.427 trillion, right? All right. And of course, as I've said on the show multiple times, never let a good crisis go to waste, as they say. So China using this opportunity to ramp up their central bank digital currency, as we've been reporting on, for months, for literally months, as central banks around the world are cutting interest rates to zero and taking aggressive action against the economic recession due to the coronavirus pandemic. China's central bank is accelerating its central bank digital currency plan. The Bank of China has completed development of the basic functions of the official digital currency and is now drafting laws that will help its implementation. All right. So again, we talked about this yesterday with the Democrats having a proposed draft bill that included plans for a digital dollar. We talked about Brian Brooks being appointed to comptroller of the currency, somebody who is a strong advocate or tokenization of the dollar. We've talked about the dangers of a digital dollar, and all we have to do is look toward China. And again, there's a reason why. This quote from Cao Yan, Managing Director of Digital Renaissance Foundation, quote, "If there is a chance that China is considering lowering its interest rate into negative territory as a final option in directing such policy to commercial loans and lending, a circulated digital currency rather than M0 will be able to achieve that," right? So if we want to see even Western worlds move toward negative interest rates, or in America, zero interest rates, it's going to be a lot easier to push that mandate on commercial banks, which as of right now, again, I've talked about how bad our system is many, many times, but it's still better than a fully centralized system. There is still a buffer of commercial banks with their own profit motivation and incentive in between the citizenry, in between the free market and the government and central banking. There's still that filter. And again, going to a digital currency quickly makes commercial banks obsolete. And what you get is that pass-through option. We talked about that pass-through option yesterday when we broke down that Senate bill draft, right? When we broke down that bill draft about how local banks would have this pass-through option to tap into this pool of digital reserves managed by the Federal Reserve Bank. Quickly, over time, that becomes why are there even local banks? Everything is run off the central ledger, right? So now instead of them being their own, you're going to see buy-ups, you're going to see mergers, you're going to see acquisitions, you're going to see the commercial banking sector centralized. And then eventually, it'll just be shell corporations, shell companies essentially, or the central bank, which is very, very, very worst case solution, right? We want less government, not more government control over the economy. So watch for that. That's going to happen. Again, I've called it here before. We're going to see a digital dollar. Certainly within the next 10 years, most likely within the next 5 years, maybe even sooner. We're going to see a digital yuan renminbi next year. It's happening. This year is when they're going to start rolling out to commercial banks. So it is coming. It is coming. And that's terrifying because cash and things like Bitcoin, so let's just leave Bitcoin out of it for a second. Cash is the ability for you to have financial freedom and for you to conduct transactions privately. It gives you financial privacy. With the digital dollar, with everything being tracked, they know who you are, what you bought, where you bought it, how much it cost, did you pay tax on it, how much taxes did you pay on it, and they can track and control and monitor your spending habits, right? And this is information that we don't like Google to have, that we don't like Google monetizing, that we don't like Yahoo monetizing, that we don't like who uses Yahoo. I don't know why I said Yahoo. So this is dangerous. And again, this is exactly why things like Bitcoin were created, right? Financial privacy and financial security are absolutely vital to a functioning free society, right? They're not necessary for a society; they're necessary for a free society, right? Financial privacy is necessary for a free society. All right, and some positive news: Brave taps Binance for a crypto trading widget in the browser, right? So again, those of you rocking Brave, right? Shout out to the Brave gang. So Brave has added Binance crypto buying, selling, and trading into its web browser. The integration will protect users' privacy by being remotely embedded. And earlier this month, Brave announced an expansion of its in-browser rewards. So the crypto browser rewards are heating up. So pretty cool. You guys can now use Brave browser to trade on Binance directly from your browser. Don't even got to log in. I wonder if the VPN is going to work on that. Let me know in the comment section. All right. Let's see what we got. You'll be able to trade Bitcoin, Ethereum, Ripple, and of course, Basic Attention Token, Brave's own native token, directly on Binance through this built-in widget. And the official announcement here from Brave. So right there, Brave Rewards and Binance. Boom. Now, again, the widget is embedded remotely. Some third-party plugins would leave users vulnerable to malware and other security risks, unlike this one. From the Binance blog, CZ tweeted out about how the privacy-oriented features of the Brave browser will install a safe feeling for users looking to buy and sell crypto through their web browser, as well as reducing friction. Now, the plugin will be available early for users of Brave's nightly desktop version, while users of the general desktop version of Brave will expand to the desktop. Well, hold on. Users of the general desktop version will get access next month, and the mobile Brave application will get integration soon after. So if you guys have the nightly desktop version, you guys can get it early, not yet, but soon, and next month for all other normal desktop. Now, interestingly enough, you guys remember Opera. I don't know if you guys remember Opera. That was the first web browser I really started using once I kind of began my thing. It is still kicking, and they've added a similar crypto-minded feature last month. So Opera users can also now buy Ethereum and BTC within their browser, which is pretty neat. So you guys can use those Brave rewards that you're getting automatically to turn them into Bitcoin right on the platform, right? Brief update here real quickly before we get into the charts on the Cash App. We've covered this a lot, right? Now, we've covered this on an ongoing basis here on Breaking Bitcoin, as it's a popular mainstream platform that is playing a large role in driving the mass adoption of Bitcoin among normies. Again, it's one of the most convenient ways to get Bitcoin. I've recommended it many, many times. Now, Square, the company behind the Cash App, had an investor call take place earlier today in which their chief financial officer discussed how it has seen a pretty large uptick in Bitcoin engagement via its Cash App. This, despite the recent market turmoil driven by the coronavirus situation. CFO Amrita Ahuja, I butchered that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Amrita Ahuja. Maybe. I don't know. Help me, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I'm a native English speaker. Described how adoption and engagement of the equity investing in Bitcoin, the fractional equity investing, right? The fractional equity investing has seriously accelerated in recent weeks, given recent market interest and volatility. Jack Dorsey was also on the call, bound for Africa Jack, and he remarked that we are seeing strong engagement and volume for Bitcoin. Cash App last week set an internal record for use for us in terms of customer acquisition, the record number of new activities in the week, primarily from organic acquisition, a lot of that coming out of the creative use cases that we're seeing in social media, meaning a lot of advertisement. Thank you, Goblin Moblin. Appreciate it, my brother. So, pretty good signs. Again, the most normie-friendly app out there to just buy Bitcoin. Blowing up right now, right? People are talking about going long on the financial sector. Get out of here. All right. The last story here before we get into the show. Oh, this is the show. Robinhood. Now listen, not going to work. Not going to work, Robinhood. I'm sorry. Now, I used to use Robinhood. I've recommended Robinhood. I have since now switched over to WeBull, right? And the reason why is because this is not the first time that Robinhood has screwed customers. Didn't screw me. I didn't suffer from it whatsoever. I'm not a day trader. I was already short the market before all this went down. But so many people lost money because Robinhood decided to cut corners on how it's built its platform. Now, again, still a pretty convenient, easy to use app. And I hope that they get their stuff together. It's good for a lot of people. It's made, again, it's responsible for a lot of people becoming more financially literate. It's also responsible for Wall Street bets, which, hey, pretty fun over there sometimes. But obviously, the Robinhood app went down with significant technical problems that sidelined them during the biggest one-day point gain in the history of the Dow Jones Industrial Average. March 23rd, Robinhood emailed affected users to apologize, asking if they'd get compensation. They said, well, we'll give a bunch of premium gold. Yeah, what is that, $5 a month? People lost tens of thousands of dollars, man. 3 crashes in 2 weeks. On March 2nd, they experienced a day-long technical problem. And then more technical issues on March 9th and March 12th, right? So, yesterday, Robinhood reportedly emailed affected users to apologize for this incident and demonstrate their intentions to rebuild the trust in their customers, from their customers in the form of credits, with a dollar amount to be determined on a case-by-case basis. This is, of course, following these outages. Too little, too late. Too little, too late, man. Too little, too late. Again, I have switched 50% of my funds that were on Robinhood over to WeBull, 50% over to Charles Schwab. I like Charles Schwab. I've used him for a long time. WeBull's fun. It's easy to use on the go. If you guys want to sign up for WeBull, you guys can go to webull.crackingcryptocurrency.com. You get a free stock just for registering an account. No deposit. Deposit any amounts, and you'll get another stock worth up to $1,400. Take advantage of that kind of stuff, man. Free stuff is free stuff. I like it. So. webull.crackingcryptocurrency.com, link in the description below if you guys want to take advantage of that. Can't recommend Robinhood right now until I know that this isn't going to happen again. So we got a lot of volatility coming up. Let's see, Robinhood. Let's see. All right, that's our crypto currently segment, guys. Let's get to the news, or let's get to the charts. All right, here we are over on the Bitcoin chart. I got the 45-minute chart pulled up. Again, I've covered the 15-minute chart before in Bitcoin, but listen, nothing but winning. What are we rejecting off of? The small 23. Listen, I know that Richard and Carl and the Pine Boy and the Pine Bros, they are just chopping it up right now, right? The optimized small 23, again, not optimized, but just small 23 auto hedging strategy. If price closes above the small 23, go long, close below, go short. Again, even chiding me for my use still of the HMA 60 and putting in good work today. Again, bouncing right off of the small 23 once, twice for a double tap on lowering volume. You can see Wattatar explosion here on the 45. Just start declining to the negative. Even as we get this continuation long signal, we don't have the confirmation. We reject right from resistance, and now we've trailed back below the 21 exponential moving average and down to the orange, down to the EMA 13. HMA 60 still sitting below us right now at the 56. So again, about $1,000 below to my daily baseline where I will be unhedged. Now, of course, still up. So again, kind of the sentiment that I'm seeing overall, I'd say from most of the market, is either a decline straight from here, or again, what I wouldn't be surprised to see is a bounce somewhere kind of in this accumulation or in the buy zone. Again, buy zone going to be within we got to go to the daily to see it. The qualifying line on the daily, let's get rid of the CC EMA, qualifying line on the daily and the daily baseline. This area right here, I talked about this area before yesterday. Again, I said the way that I trade, when we close above the baseline, I'm spot long. We close below, I'm head short, right? And that simple strategy, I've covered it many times, has been responsible for a lot of gains over the years. It's a very simple strategy. All right, so we've got a ways to go before that. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that. I still wouldn't be surprised to see us tag the $7,200, $7,300 areas I talked about yesterday before that moving to the downside. Again, all technical indications here seem pretty decent, right? Actually seem good. We're above the baseline. Watertower explosion is turning bullish, but again, no volume to confirm an at-risk leverage long. Minx, it has crossed to the upside. We don't have any Minx exit signal here on the daily, nor on the 12. All right, let's go to the daily. The breaking Bitcoin system right now, looking strong. We are above the continuation filter. Continuation filter would be suggesting a downside target of about 61.53 for a potential bounce and a tag again of about that 72.74. But again, the trending system is pointing to the upside, right? And we're going to need to see a close below to flip our bias to the short side here. The 4 hour has not been the best time frame to trade. We've covered this before. The 4 hour was good over here when we had directional bias, but so far, and you can just see the weakness in this move. Here we are on the 4 hour time frame. Let's get the daily time frame baseline, and we'll get the daily baseline. All right, so I want to show you guys something. Here is the 4 hour, right? We'll look at 4 hour trades, okay? So let's change Minx to the current time frame baseline filter of signals. So now we can go long and short when we're above here. Wait for this to load, just a second here. All right, so as we can see, Minx signals for a long right here. Worst time to take it. Worst time to take it. Why? Because you're using the 4 hour baseline. I've said this before, 4 hour baseline is not really a thing. So that's a losing trade. Get another long signal right here. Nope. Long signal right here. Now again, this one is the good play. That one's a good play. And we get a 4 hour short signal right here. So going. So 2 losers, 2 winners, and really no long signal here, but we do kind of cross above. This is 2 bar rule, 3 bar rule. We could have taken it right here. And maybe you tag 1 ATR. But we're definitely getting a 4 hour exit signal right now. And the 4 hour will actually turn bearish. 4 hour will actually turn bearish if we close below 6,400 here. But that's why it's very important to not use 4 hour baseline, but to use the daily baseline or any kind of LTF trading. It is vital. It is absolutely essential. Here's the daily baseline, right? And you pretty much have nothing but winning here. You have nothing but winning here from the 4 hour. Again, CS, continuation short, scaling you in through this whole area right here. Minx told you it was coming. Big decline to the downside. Catches this rebound to the upside, tells you to short again here. Boom. See here. Short signal right here, right before this big sell-off. And then we finally get one bad signal on a short, and then price does immediately reverse, right? We get a long, losing long, but we're not above the channel, so we wouldn't have taken that trade. As you can see, we're not closing above channel. We're good. Get a short trade here. Had some chop here, not gonna lie. This is not the best area. The last couple days were not the best area. But we do get this good. Again, we're closing above right here. Should be a long signal, but it's not printed because it took a day. And here we are. Trade, no trade on the very next candle. Good 4 hour trade. That's hit TP. And again, looking like we are crossing to the downside now. You did get the exit signal from Minx right here, right at the top. So good stuff. 4 hour parallax is still bullish. Again, we are still above the daily baseline. But again, it would be looking like a pullback to around 6,000. That movement to the upside to be back in the buy zone. Those are the 4 hour metrics. Again, the daily metrics would actually be quite wider. Be between 63.81 and let's say 5,900, right? And BB Systems gives us this nice continuation filter sitting at 61.56. Close below this level, be bearish. Now again, I am still in my short, right? Still in my short. We are pushing up. I still have that entry at 7,200, but I am spot long on Bitcoin. So my weight to the long side is greater in Bitcoin at this current point in time. But again, if you look at all my active trades, again, I've got multiple alt BTC shorts. I'm also playing traditional markets, and I'm all over the place in Forex. I mean, my account is pretty hedged. I mean, my dollar value is pretty locked in, right? And even with the decline, right? I took a loss over here, right? Been very upfront with this, right? I took an L on this trade, took an L on this candle right here, right? And my account was down. Nice little chunk. Not gonna lie, nice little chunk. As far as BTC equity goes, right? As far as BTC equity goes, and now I've traded that back, closing the month out in positive greens, back in double digits for the month. This last couple of weeks, particularly in Forex, has been absolutely tremendous. And again, all those gains are right there for all the premium members to see. All right, so the 45-minute, we're going to make a video about this because the 45-minute strategy is really good, really good. Again, we talked about the 15-minute, nothing but winners all day yesterday, even throughout here, and all day today, pretty much nothing but winners, right? Pretty much nothing but winners. Long signal here, TL. Sorry, hold on. We need to change this to, my bad, the current time frame baseline of signals. Apologies. Let that load. There we go, right? 45 getting you for this nice movement here. And again, that one's probably a loss, actually. I apologize. But here's the 45-minute signaling for the short and the continuation filter doing you quite well as we close below. BB system, pretty good. The continuation filter doing pretty good as well as over here. Overall, pretty happy with the 45-minute system here. What I'm going to do, as I said, I got the Water Explosion strategy tester done. It's being alpha tested. I'm going to be publishing the Ming strategy tester tonight. As soon as I get done with the stream, I've got a couple more lines of code to write. I'll publish that for the alpha testers. They should be done with that by this weekend, and I can publish that for the premium members to beta test. So that Water Explosion strategy tester will be live. The Ming strategy tester as well, hopefully will be done by then as well. And then the next step, we'll be putting out the all singing, all dancing strategies for people to apply to their charts, utilize TradingView alerts, and trade however they want to, as well as trade automation on our end. So pretty excited. A lot of stuff coming. Looking at traditional markets, how we closed out. Let's take a look at the futures. Futures having a little bit of a down movement today. Let's take a look and see. All right, so UTC time, sorry. Let's get this time right. All right, so market closed here. Aftermarket went up a little bit, and it's looking like, listen, if we continue on this kind of directional trend right now, it is looking like this movement is getting sold into significantly in the futures market overnight. Looking the way this is, looks like we are going to gap down. Let's see what the follow through is like here in about 4 hours. Again, right around 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, you get a pretty good idea of how the market's going to open the next day. But so far, not looking good. Not continuing to rally. The investor sentiment is not continuing here. And again, we are getting a pull to the downside, and VIX on its way back up. So again, expect a lot of volatility in the markets, right? Expect a lot of volatility in the markets. All right. Again, SPY, Qs, Dow, not going to lie. Big days to the upside. Big days to the upside. Again, big shout out to Wall Street Bets Degens who did good. The Dixie continues to pull to the downside here. Gold spot continuing to rally. But again, looking at the overnight markets right now, XAU USD, again, getting a rejection. Where is it getting a rejection from? Right from the initiation level. So again, very, very clear. It's very, very nice about the breaking Bitcoin system. We do close above the baseline right here. Again, things with Parallax also kept you out of this movement right here, but rejection from the initiator. Rejection from the initiator. So again, not the time for at-risk longs on gold. Where's silver at right now? Reversal baseline bounce right off the daily baseline. Again, just like a magnet, right? Again, looking for a downside target on silver. If we do reject from here on 1282, silver needs to close above 1535 before we're looking to go long on silver again. Brent crude continuing to just trudge. I mean, look at that. That is weak, right? Now, again, I talked about this last week. I would not be surprised to see Mr. Bentley crude even come up here and tab some liquidity right around this zone, right around 31. But that's even a stretch looking at how weak this is. So keep your eye on gold. I think the trade is still to the downside. And again, we talked about bonds, all right? We had a down day today. But look, bonds recovering. Let's see. I think that this is likely to continue. I don't really think anybody wants to buy the corporate debt, but I think it is going to continue on in the short term as yields, again, even as yields continue to go up. I don't care. Plan the trade the plan, ladies and gentlemen. All right, Ethereum. where are we at over here? Again, we close above the daily baseline, but not above the channel. We have kind of saddled out of it. And what is keeping out of this market right now? Water explosion and parallax, right? Telling us that there is no confirmation on these trades, not enough oomph, not enough volume to the upside. And so we shall see. Got filled on a couple of my short entries. Actually, sorry, just one. Missed my second entry by about 8 cents, but got initially filled on my Ethereum short, moving down into the profit. Now, XRP USD, what can I say? Hey, everybody's a winner some days, right? XRP USD getting a participation trophy. Getting a participation trophy. Again, same thing that we see over here in Ethereum land. No volume, no confirmation, no long-term trend flip. Still looking pretty sluggish, even above the DBL. Watch those closes back below 14.5 cents for those short signals on XRP. EOS. All right, EOS. A big participation trophy. A lot of action here on the 45. Good stuff on the 45. Long opportunity here. Got you in the short. 45 daily baseline. Got you in here. Going to daily opportunities. Looking for daily trending here on EOS USD. Again, what do we see? The exact same thing. No volume. Minx is there. Minx is sensitive, but Parallax is not. It's not telling you anything. There's nothing here. There's nothing here, right? We need to see confirmation, need to see some volume, need to see something a little bit more than a float up to previous resistance and crashing below. And what did I talk about? I talked about this yesterday. CME chart, using the CME chart to determine directional bias. What do we have on the CME chart right now? Reversal baseline bounce, right? Excluding weekend data told us, again, excluding weekend data, price gives us, this is the optimized Minx exit signal that I'll be posting. This is we'll be publishing this week. Right? We'll be publishing this week. The optimized Minx system, not just the exit signals, but the new optimized Minx calculations, right? It was complicated, guys. I'm not gonna lie. A lot of code to get this thing to do what I want it to do. All the functionality that I've added to it. But again, ride up to the daily baseline, tagging right here, hovering for a little bit, and here we go on the way down. Again, all the metrics that we have on the LTFs would suggest a rejection at this point in time. We've got, listen, what's really nice, listen, look at this exit system on the 45 minute. This is the Minx optimized exit system, right? Calling for an initial short entry here. This is a DCA system or can be applied. Boom, 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 catching all the tops. And here you are moving into the profit as this trend line breaks. Let's watch, right? All right, now on the CME chart, if we get a close above 69.90, actually, what is it, 7,000, that's actually going to be kind of impressive, right? It's actually going to be kind of impressive and be a little bit of indecisive. But right now, we are seeing rejection from the daily baseline on the CME charts, kind of avoiding the chop in the weekend BS of Bitcoin. All right, and again, BTC markets getting a little bit of a pop to the upside as they do when Bitcoin starts moving to the downside. Don't worry, if Bitcoin puts in a big tank to the downside, they'll dump too. Again, my XRP and EOS BTC shorts have pulled me some tasty tendies over the last few days. So let's see what the traditionals do. Again, Bitcoin following right along with them. Not as strong, not as weak, but still. Remember, Bitcoin has already had its rally, and as we can see the Russell selling off right now, as we can see the SPY selling off right now, again, one day too early on my SH continuation, right? Now we wait, and we got to wait for the new continuation. So we'll see. My commodities trades are doing well. A pretty easy day in the market, guys. Pretty easy day in the market. Low stress, very calm. Waiting for the next opportunity, long-term thinking, daily trends, find your trades, trade your trades, plan the trade and trade the plan. All right, looking at crypto bubbles. Looking at crypto bubbles again, what do we see? Relatively down day, of course, basic attention token rallying, engine coin up a little bit, big losers of the day, Nexo, Dash, pretty weak day. Again, I'm not looking for long exposure in the alt markets right now, guys. And again, things to watch for this week. I already said, watch unemployment claims, not for any trades, just as a harbinger of what's to come, guys. If you guys want to see how bad it's really going to get, and watch Thursday, watch the GDP coming out bright and early, 6:30 a.m. in the morning. Sorry, 6 o'clock in the morning. GDP monetary policy summary. All right, you want to see fear and panic? Watch these central bank people speak. Token analyst, something that I've been talking about for the last few days. I want it on ScalpX. All right. Open interest. Open interest continuing to walk its way down this entire rally, this entire movement to the upside. Weak. We go to attention charts. We can see thick resistance, rejecting. We can see volume delta. No, it's around here somewhere. It's disappeared on me. It is a repainting indicator. There it is. There's a little bit of volume delta right there and there. And finally, after liquidating the shorts that attempted to enter here and here, market's finally moving in the favor. Stronger support down at the 6,200 to 60. Just say the $6,300 to $6,200 range currently, with lower scattered bids all the way down to 6,000. Inflows and outflows finally coming back down to where we were, roughly right before the dump. And again, volume doing nothing but falling off. Let's move it to the downside. All right, so be careful out there, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of opportunities. As I said, it's just getting started. If you guys missed out on any kind of trades, you guys haven't missed out on anything. There is so much volatility, so many trading opportunities. Adopt a consistent, patient, methodical trading strategy. Come join us in the group if you guys want some guidance on how to do that. We're here every day. This is what we do. All right, let's see here. All right, so we're going to get over to your questions. Of course, if you guys are watching on YouTube, if you're new to the show, subscribe, turn on all notifications. YouTube, again, we're becoming controversial because we're attempting to tell the truth about what's going on in the markets and in the world and in the economy right now. And I guess they do not like that. So if you don't turn on notifications, you're not going to get notified when we go live. We are here every single evening currently. Normally used to broadcast at noon, but due to, again, staff being home with their children, broadcasting at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time every single evening. Subscribe, follow us on Twitch and Follow us on Twitter and Instagram to stay up to date with the latest, and make sure to hop in the Discord. Yeah, I'm only seeing, so this is weird. I've only been watching the YouTube comments, and I can see that again, the internet is, taking a huge hit, man. Big, even problems with our streaming service, because I can see in the live chat on the stream, Twitch and DLive, and YouTube is segregated over here. So it's very difficult. So I'll do my best to catch everything. I'll put my eye on everything now and answer your guys' questions. If you guys are beginning your journey toward profitability, make sure to check out what we do in the group, premium.krakencryptocurrency.com. We are here to help you. All right. Let's get to live questions. Da Vinci would like to see an analysis of Link USDT. All right, so let's exclude that data. So Link USDT is interesting. We are below the daily baseline, above the continuation filter. This is a no trade zone until we close above $2.81 on the daily. CS on the daily a couple days ago, which hasn't panned out. Daily close below 210.81 is going to be flipping us back short. However, volume has dried off here to the negative side, so we could see some more upside here as Parallax points up. Let's see here, as Minx points itself up. All right. Nothing from the Minx exit signal currently so far. Let's take a look at where our BL is coming in at. We are within the qualifying zone. So we're right back up, kind of set up for reversal baseline bounce trades. Remember, if BTC USD moves to the downside, so will all USDT pairs. Let's go down to the 45 and see what we got coming in. Again, baseline and BB catching this movement to the upside very nicely. And what do we have here? We currently have a trend flip, right? Triple 1, 2, 3 tap on the support level right here and breaking down through. Again, trend flips back to the upside if we can get back above $2.35. But right now, trend is pointing down. We are not yet oversold. Should I have bought that 0x dip earlier? Should always buy 0x dips, man. You know the rules. I mean, I wouldn't say so. I mean, I can see, you know, the grab for liquidity. I get it. I mean, it's a logical area to knife catch, right? It's a logical area to knife catch. Look, you got this low right here. Did I just say low? You got this low right here. We bought, we rich, right? You know, as a non-reversal trader, max upside I would see on this currently would be 24.01, kind of a scalp back to the continuation filter or this region looking for rejection there. Even on the 45, we haven't even trend flipped yet. So 45 catching these little trends kind of nicely, a little bit of chop here, a little bit of chop here. You know, the lower time frame baselines can actually be a pretty good initiator if you're trading in the direction of the daily baseline, right? So you can see, you know, breaks to the upside while they are profitable. I mean, the big money here is if you could short 0x, but I think you can. Not quite sure on that one. Again, is really getting you into the profitable movements to the downside. So, and very similar, right? When we are above the daily baseline, which we are throughout most of here, crosses above this 45-minute filter, getting you in for some, definitely not here, but you're overextended. We all know that, right? Pull back right here, and then initiation and continuation. And some chop here, but, and there's a really good, nice trend. But yeah, I mean, seeing as how, I don't know, what do you think? Does this look like more like a trending area of the market or kind of like this consolidation choppy? No, more like this consolidation choppy area of the market. I would say it looks a little bit more like the latter. So I'd be a little concerned about this, but hey, get it, buddy. Let's see here. Boris Bitcoin says, hey, Justin, how do we determine which events in the Forex calendar we should place the most significance on? There were certain pairs I wanted to trade today, but I didn't because of reports coming out. So, all right. So listen, there's a few things. So fundamentals of Forex it's just going to take time to master that and learn. You know, Forex is an area, as is traditional markets, where you can ignore you can ignore like kind of the fundamentals that people tell you are important, but you certainly want to be educated about them, right? Just so you can know when there's something unnatural, right? So general rules are, you know, if there's some really significant news coming out or going on, you generally don't want to trade into that. If you can't, if you don't have to, right? Sometimes it's going to be invariable. Like right now, the coronavirus has the entire world, you know, whipped up into a feeding frenzy, or maybe, you know, maybe a vomiting frenzy. I don't know. Maybe that's the right word. I'm not quite sure what the right word is here, but you know, it's scary. And but the volatility in Forex is beautiful. The trends have been absolutely fantastic. Somebody asked if I can go over my recent Forex trades. Yeah, absolutely. You guys can go to results.krakencryptocurrency.com to see all of my closed results. At the end of the month, I'll be publishing my March trades, but I would certainly be happy to talk about some of them now. Let me get... Oh, I'm looking literally right at it. Literally looking right at it. All right. All right, let's see what we can do. All right, here we go. All right. All right, well, let's talk about, things that can't be understated. The pound Aussie, right? Pound Aussie, over 1,000 pips on that one. And the pound dollar, over 1,000 pips on that one. Absolutely lovely. The dollar yuan recently closed trade, pound Aussie, euro Kiwi, Aussie Kiwi. What else this month? Let's see here. The dollar yen earlier in the month, the pound Swissy, the euro pound, another dollar yuan trade, the dollar CAD, the Aussie yen, pound CAD. We just closed out successfully, 1.28% raw. So again, pretty good run of the Forex markets. Not every single one. Listen, I don't have a high hit rate. I just make money consistently, right? It is the position sizing and the consistency that allows me to be profitable, right? Some months I have an 80% hit rate, some months I have a 40% hit rate. But it is the position sizing and the discipline and the risk management and the diversification that make me profitable consistently month after month. Bik Ram Jit, I apologize. Mr. Singh, thank you so much for the subscription over there on YouTube, my friend. No, that is Twitch, I do believe. Thank you so much. Or maybe it's YouTube. I don't know. Things are broken right now. Doing my best. All right, over on DLive, lemons. I've got them. You want them. Let's do this. Slickwarrior88. Thank you so much for following me today. Oh, I didn't mean to do that. I'm sorry. I forgot to put lemons in the basket before hitting the distribute button. So there's only 7.1 lemons that are going out to you guys. Let me attempt to correct that. All right, so let's see what's going on over on Twitch. And I have lost all the chat. Fantastic. A+ tonight, Justin. All right, more questions. Oh, so I apologize. I believe it feels like I trailed off on Boris's question. Congratulations, Mr. Squeaky Tadpole, Ricky T, and the Pie Guy. And let me see if it'll let me put lemons in the basket. It will. And it will let me redistribute them. Forex Meister, thank you so much for the 100 bits, my brother. So stingy with the lemon. I know, man. It's rough. All right, it's 10:12. We got to be headed for the door here relatively soon. But I want to answer that question for you with a little bit more nuance. All right, so here we are over on the Forex Factory calendar, right? So a lot of this stuff you can ignore, right? Like I said, unemployment claims, I'm not expecting any kind of trade data. Here are things to watch out for, right? Like big announcements by central banks, GDP releases, CPIs can be important. All this flash manufacturing stuff. Again, for me anyways, the way I interpret this is I take this with a huge grain of salt. No, it will not let me distribute rewards. It is too close to my last giveaway. I'm doing my best. I will try here in just a few minutes. Listen, all of these flash services that might have an impact. G7 meetings, definitely one to watch for. All of these things that would normally have an impact on the market. They're going to be doing their thing. Mike W, thank you so much for the sub on YouTube. Welcome to the community. All of these kind of fundamental events that would normally have an impact on the market, they are just not mattering right now because there are such greater economic things going on, such greater fundamentally global events and occurrences happening right now. Things to typically watch out for, like CPI, annual budgets, important announcements, central banks, announcements, speeches, meetings. These things can matter. A lot of the other stuff can be largely ignored, and you'll kind of learn over time. Just as long as you're keeping a trading journal and you're paying attention to what the trades that you take, and when you have losers every month, sitting down and evaluating your journal and figuring out exactly why you had a good month, why you had a bad month. You want to remember those things and use that information and data to refine your system over time until you get something where you're very, very comfortable with it, right? So same thing, right? Like if you make a decision based off of a Forex fundamental, write that down, right, in your trading notes, in your trading journal, and then come back to that at the end of the month. And you'll see over time, like, okay, I didn't take this trade because of this. Was that a good decision? Would I have had a winner, right? That stuff's very important when you're forward testing. Absolutely important when you're forward testing. Let me see if it'll let me distribute rewards now. Still too close. Come on, DLive. I need some guidance on this. How does this thing work? Who's even running this system? It's turtles all the way down, brother. All right, so I think I got this question yesterday too about SBAs, right? So Small Business Administration loans. I mean, listen, it's a government agency, and they're doing a lot with coronavirus relief right now, right? Local states are doing these things as well. So, my first thing would be, thank you, Boris. You have a good night too, brother. Here's the link. I just dropped it in the chat for the Small Business Administration disaster relief. And here is the main link to the Small Business Administration loan department, right? They're going to be, listen, they're going to be loans, issued by their lenders, right? So just as with all loans, right? It's something that you want to be very serious about, that you want to understand, right? I've taken loans before. I have good credit. Sometimes they're very helpful, right? To grow a business or expand or invest or anything that you want to do. But as with all things, you want to do it responsibly, right? Rates are really low right now. I've talked about the reality that people should use this opportunity to refinance their homes, to refinance any kind of double-digit debt or credit that they have. Definitely, if you have old debt that you're paying like 22% on or 15% on, refinance that at a low rate. Absolutely, it's one of the best things you can do. So I don't have any experience with taking SBA loans myself, so I'm really not an expert, and I don't want to give you, any kind of advice on this that I don't know. I know that it's a government registered entity, and they do things. I don't know if they're to be trusted or not. It just depends on. Never signed paperwork with them. It just depends on what the terms are, right? So again, just as with all things, review your options. If you're an individual that's looking for a small business loan right now, I would definitely see what your local state is doing. I know that a lot of money has been apportioned to local disaster relief for those affected by Corona. So if that is you, then that is something that you should look into. Federal government is also doing things. So that's always how I navigate, right? I always go see what I can get locally. And then if I have to step up, I step up. And then I just keep stepping up until I either get told no or I don't get what I want, right? Or I get what I want. So, all right. That being said, guys, I'm going to try and do these rewards one more time. I'm sorry, guys. I fouled up. I'm going to double it up tomorrow. Do it big tomorrow with the lemons. I promise, right? I promise. Thank you guys so much for joining me for another episode of Breaking Bitcoin Market Analysis. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your night. Listen, guys, we're going to get through this. We're all in this together. A lot of people are worried. A lot of people are afraid right now, but it's okay. In the end, there are going to be opportunities for those who are bright, who are motivated, who are hustlers, who are passionate. This is the time to start a business. This is the time to learn a skill, learn to code, learn to trade, become financially literate. You're seeing what's happening around in the world right now. Do not be one of these lemmings on the sidelines, letting the government make decisions for you or thinking that somebody is going to be there to protect you or have your best interest, either your physical safety or your financial safety or your financial well-being in mind. They're not going to be there. They're not there for you. This is the time to be self-sufficient. This is the time to understand the markets, to understand your finances, to understand the way the world works, and have a plan. Be proactive, not reactive to situations that are out of your control. Research, educate yourself, understand trends, understand what's going on. And whether you're right or wrong, stand tall and proud and brave and live your best life in the face of chaos, right? Do the best that you can to be the strongest human that you can in the situation that you're in, right? Because just like the rest of you guys, I'm doing the best that I can, trying to live my best life with the knowledge that I've accumulated and gathered. And it is a much better life than waiting for somebody to make my decisions for me. Because right or wrong, they're my decisions. They're my choices. And that helps me sleep at night. All right? So we will be back tomorrow at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time. You guys have a fantastic evening. Make sure to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. We post exclusive content there you won't see anywhere else. Subscribe to the channel. Turn on all notifications. Otherwise, YouTube will not tell you that we even exist. That's the way that it is. Can't do anything about it. If you guys are just beginning your journey to profitability, make sure to check out what we do at premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. And I'm looking forward to seeing each and every one of you in the Discord. You guys have a fantastic evening. Cheers.